Hello everyone, my name is Zimasa Vabaza and welcome to the Momentum Corporate Coffee Conversations, a platform where we have insightful conversations with industry leaders, captains of industry, around finances, money, success, retirement and everything in between. Today I have Phillip Matlakala, who is a non-executive director. He has served on many boards across the African continent, and just before he retired, he worked as the CEO of Metropolitan Retail. Phillip, how are you this morning?
I'm very well, yourself.
Very well. I love your attire.
Oh, thank you very much.
It gives retirement.
Thank you very much.
So, Phillip, we're going to speak about money and finances, and we're going to speak about your illustrious career. But what's more important is for us to start almost at the beginning of your career, and what led you into the career path that you chose, and how did it all begin for you?
It was actually by accident, because I used to work for the rag industry. I was in retail, working for the Ultra Group, including Woolworths, Truworths, and Topics. And a friend of mine, Anton Hartman, tried to bring me into insurance. He used to work for a company called Norwich Life at the time. And I wasn't biting. I didn't want to join insurance. Insurance had this black mark. Stigma that I really didn't want to be associated with the industry. But he was relentless. He wasn't stopping. For 1 year, he was on my case. Come join us, come join us. And eventually,
you joined.
I joined. And as they say, the rest is history. More than 30 years later, I'm still in the industry.
It's 30 years later. I want to almost go back even further and say your attitude to money. What built your attitude towards money, and how was that shaped as you grew up? So we're now looking at your formative years, high school, varsity, and the transition just before you get into formal work. What was that like? What was your relationship and attitude towards money?
Well, to be honest, at that point, there wasn't much money moving around when I was at school. But I always saw money as security, not luxury. I saw it as something that I need to use on a rainy day, something that will give me the comfort that whatever eventuality I come across, I'll rather keep it with me and use it as and when the need arises here.
As somebody who has, I would say, wrapped up the working career phase of their life, I want to look back and say, what do you believe were some of the money mistakes that you made, and what were the money, I would say, victories that you made?
Look, when I got married, my wife and I went to Standard Bank at the time, and we raised what they used to call a revolving loan, and it was quite a sizable amount of money at the time. And we didn't use it badly. I mean, we used it to furnish our house that we had bought at the time. But when we did the calculations, we realized that it's going to take us a long time to repay back. And if we take that time, we're probably going to be paying 3 times what we actually borrowed. And it brought a lot of stress. And we took a resolution that we're going to do whatever we can to clear that loan. And that once we've done that, we're going to be living debt-free. And how are we going to do that? We're just going to try and live below our means for as long as possible. And we just wanted to have financial freedom. And for quite a long time, we decided we're going to be debt-free.
And you succeeded.
Absolutely. We're going to be debt-free, and if we don't have something, then we'll wait until we have money to buy that. I mean, as I understand it, South African people are sort of 78 to 80% of their income services debt.
Yes.
You can't live like that. Some people are in so much debt that they will never be able to come out of it for as long as they live.
Yeah.
That's not life.
Your first employment contract, I want you to think back to that. Do you still remember what your employee benefits were at that time, and did they feel like benefits, and did you even understand them?
To be quite honest with you, I knew they were there. What they were, how important they were, I had an inclination. But here's a funny thing. As soon as I started working, and I said I want to buy a life policy, I probably was in my early 20s or mid-20s.
You took a life policy?
I took a life policy.
20s.
And actually, I've outlived that life policy, to be honest with you.
Now, you get these benefits. It's your first formal employment. Do you understand what you're reading now? Or when did you start to understand what employee benefits can give to you as an employee at the time?
Well, I knew if I died, there would be a lump sum paid. At the time, it would be my mother because I wasn't married. I also knew that if I became disabled, there's a certain amount of money that will come to me while I'm disabled, whether it's temporary disablement or permanent disablement. There was going to be a sum of money coming to me and stuff. I knew that. But whether or not that was sufficient, I didn't know. But I also knew that there's a pension as well that I'm sort of contributing towards that is going to help me when I get to retirement. I knew all of those things. But, at the time when you're young, you live for the moment. You sort of, I've got to be able to maintain myself while I live. Pensions and all of those things were a little bit
too far ahead.
Too far ahead, yeah.
For you to comprehend. Yeah. Now, let's talk about when you decided to then start planning for retirement. Because a lot of people, the senior phase it's almost, there's dread because people feel like I'm not going to be as useful anymore, etc. When did you start to see that this race that you've run and you've been so good at is going to come to an end and this is how I want to end it?
A little bit late in my life. In fact, I really started contributing towards my pension or retirement in my 40s.
Really?
Yeah. I sat my wife down and I said, look, we got to make sure that we pay for this house that we live in. We got to clear it because at the time that was the only debt we had.
Major debt.
And, if you clear your house, if you pay your house, you're saving yourself a lot of money. You're paying yourself a lot of interest that you would have paid over
the term.
Over the term, yeah. So whatever money I make, whatever money you make, we're going to throw it into this house. You must remember the moment when we managed. Yeah, I remember that moment. I came home with a bottle of wine. I did. And I sat down, I said, well, Mrs. Matlakala, this property, this land and this house is ours. It belongs to nobody but ourselves.
Wow.
We were basically totally debt-free. And whatever money that we made was ours. And that's when money starts to work for you rather than you working for money. When that money comes, then you can start getting it into all sorts of investment. That's where we were managed to buy other properties. Wow. That's where we managed to invest money into insurance policies and all that kind of stuff. And basically, that's where it all started. And it just got better and better and better as we move along. And we became totally financially free. And we've done that. You can take some of the money now and put into charity if you can. But you have to put yourself in that position.
Yes.
It's discipline.
Can only give
it's hard work. I've only driven a new car once in my life. And I've never driven a car for less than 10 years. The car that I'm driving now is an 18-year-old car. It's in mint condition. It's done 165. There is no need for me to go spend $1 million, or $1.5 million or $2 million to buy a car. Wow. Just sensible decisions that people must make. Nobody will make those decisions for you but yourself. So we've managed to put ourselves in complete financial freedom. The kids are working now. They're well educated. But sometimes they do depend on the bank of mom and dad. Sometimes they do come home and say, hey, can you help? It gives me great pleasure to be able to help. Yeah. Yes. It gives me great pleasure to be able to help family. It gives me great pleasure to be able to donate to charity, for instance, as and when you can.
So, Bro Phillip, with so much experience, what I'm sensing is that you already know so much and have learned so much around finances, setting yourself up for financial success. I want to understand, what is your relationship with financial advisors?
Yeah. I do have one now. Remember, some of the investments, I don't have the time to actually manage them because I'm busy. I belong to quite a number of boards. So I need someone to help me in that regard. So we meet every 6 months to sit down,
look at the portfolio,
what's working, what's not working. If something needs to be moved to a different portfolio, we do that. This time around, my kids will be there.
Yes.
And I've always wanted them to be part of it. But initially they didn't want to be part of it because once you start talking about the day your father dies, it was very uncomfortable for them. They don't want to talk about that stuff. Yeah. But eventually they understood the importance of them being there.
Yes.
Because we didn't have generational wealth.
That you could pass.
No, I mean, our parents used to say, you go to school and then you sort yourself. Go look for a job, and then you sort yourself out. Fortunately, us will reach a situation where there will be some
Something.
generational wealth that you leave for your kids, you need to talk about
Yes.
how they have to respect that, how they have to make sure that whatever they get, they look after it in such a way that the next generation also
Yes.
gets a start, some kind
Head
of
start.
a head start. You know, so all of those things are extremely important. So I'm glad that my kids are willing to come and listen and understand exactly how hard their parents have worked, and that they must carry on that culture.
How do we demystify finances as a thing and money management and the attitude towards money? What are those lessons that you've got for people that they can use maybe in their daily lives to start to get on track and ensure their financial success?
Here in South Africa, insurance and financial services, unfortunately, are for the haves. Not only are they for the haves, they are for the educated.
Yes.
Insurance, by its very nature, is extremely discriminatory. They're looking for healthy people. They're looking for wealthy people. The guy in Alexander Township, which is where I was born, will be relegated to poverty for the rest of your life. In fact, I was suggesting at some point that every student, it doesn't matter what course you do, whether you do engineering, whether you do accounting, whether you do, it doesn't matter. There has to be a first course, a basic course that you need to be tested on, just on financial
wellness, planning,
budgeting. Not in depth, just to sort of give them
top line.
Yeah, top line and sort of arouse their curiosity.
Yes.
That there is this thing that is a life skill that you need in your life that is going to help you a lot going forward.
Yeah.
But also people have got to start taking their jobs very seriously. You know, there's what they call dependency rate in South Africa. And what that means that every employed person looks after somebody that is unemployed somewhere. Your salary, the tax that you pay, looks after somebody somewhere that is unemployed. In America at the time, that was 2014 when I checked it, in America and Europe, it was almost 1 to 2, in some instances 1 to 1. One unemployment person, the tax that they pay looks after one unemployed person. At the time in South Africa, it was 1:6.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is now. It probably is worse because unemployment has gotten worse. Those people that are getting the grants, that are getting all these kind of things, your tax, make sure that it looks after my tax. The point is, which side of that equation do you want to be? Do you want to be the one that is getting the grants, or do you want to be the one that is employed?
Yeah.
So people must start taking their own employment seriously, first and foremost.
Yes.
Because it's going to determine which side of that equation they're going to be. And once they take it seriously, then they need to be taught how to respect that money, how to start paying themselves first instead of paying everybody else.
Yeah.
And that is critical. And it should start at a very young age. We've drilled it into our kids that they should not have debt. And luckily they've listened. We started not having that later on in our lives. We just told them, don't have that. Whatever you do, don't have that. That's really the bottom line. People have got to respect money and don't see it as luxury and live for the moment, immediate gratification.
Yes.
You know, I see this and then I want to buy it. They must look at money as security and respect it. And if they do that, they'll do well.
They'll set themselves up for financial success.
No, totally, no doubt about it.
Bro Phillip, you have given us so much.
Yeah.
You have taken us through your life, your career, your lessons that you yourself learned the hard way with your wife, and how you've instilled those in your kids to enable them for financial success. And I just want to thank you for an insightful conversation that you have imparted on us. And we will take these life lessons and ensure that even the people that are watching, you guys can also learn something from Bro Phillip. And I hope that you will also take these lessons and set yourself up for financial success. I just want to thank everybody who has watched this. I want to thank Bro Phillip, who has joined us today and helped us on our Momentum Corporate Coffee Conversations. Guys, please follow our social media pages. Keep the conversation going. Let us know how you enable yourself and how you are setting yourself up for financial success. Thank you.